You have a chance to change the future for good or bad. Looks like some solid wood scrap there. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above. Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds. You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility. He can sense that your heart beats steadily and acknowledges that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. It's important to stay grounded. You share the same fate as the tree. Out of Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past, for it's gone. Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things. If you continue to do good, good will follow you. If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So, he's prepared for the worst, something he calls the Ark. He hopes you're right. He gets that you mean the journey continues either way, but personally he wants the tree to survive. Out of Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees. He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core. The contamination disrupted what we now know as Ki energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate. He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head. It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real. He understands you are curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground. The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out. The Ark has room for 4 more, and he trusts you'll apply wisdom to your compassion and choose whom to save if the world comes to end. He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark. in the event of a cataclysm. Out of Date says that from what he says he appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's got urgent news from his friend Goop in the southeast. Out of Date says that even he says he'll point you in. That's the sound of impending doom. Out of Date's premonitions of imminent disaster are true. The Porkypuff needs to be handled. Out of Date says that Goop is worried now that the Southeast World Eater is stepping up its activity. He explains that Goop is working on a goo-gliding vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done. Out of Date suggests that you should head southeast as fast as possible and see what you can do to help. He wonders what's on your mind. Says you'll see each other later. Could be danger around any corner down here. That there's Subnautica Station. Goop flounders around in there. The oil claimed this land a long time ago. Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He knows he's easy to remember. There's no one out there as cuckoo as him. He's one of a kind. He understands you've returned to face Lupa Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember, and he thinks that's the right...
The light shines on!
Better isn't the word I would use.
Right, not better. Best.
You're the worst.
The worst of being the worst. We're just the best.
Can hardly believe the world is going to make it. Wonders what that's going to do to the goo. Thinks the Myriad made a good match with you. You're both like sunshine on the surf. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. You need to set the past aside. At least he can't leave. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time... A story has got to keep moving forward. It's like a whole different world down here. You're fading. That's an odd thing, don't you think? Staff up! You're half dead. Ooh, a biohazard like that can make you real sick. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. This might be the end of everything as we know it. He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out. There are lots of valuables left behind on the surf floor that the salvage net will enable you to haul. You just need to find the right spots. Goop says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks, squeaky distractions for the triple attentive porky puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the surf archipelago and knows where the quacks like to float. This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks. He only knows what's visible to the naked eye. Gulp is not much of a babbler and mostly keeps to himself and his drink. How many days like this do you think the world has left? Lots of notices on the board for things that made sense in the days when the surf was a lot cleaner. Interesting to see what they cared about here. Wonder if any of it matters now. In the old days, this was a port for boats that went under the surf. They helped clog the surf into goo. They made a lot of green, which is all they really cared about. You should be able to find a track here. Just need to keep your eyes open. Welcome to the Surf Archipelago, where the horizon rests on the surfy goo. Keep your head on a swivel. You're poking around Pockbur, a prime village. Individual attention. Spin that stick. Super effective. % done. Don't let the day pass you by. Says the tribe Sifu sent them here to help defend against the rival tribe that's been terrorizing their village. Isn't sure how long the village will last if it continues. As if the plague ruining the land and destroying the crops wasn't enough to bring the village to its knees all. The sea will be around when you... There are tough times ahead, no matter where you go. Has no doubt you've earned the trust and support of this village. Actions speak louder than words. Is always willing to listen. You did good here. Glad you got rid of that. Shook on it. Even with the world ending, there are fresh days ahead. Shopkeeper claims you won't be able to... Says the... Shopping accomplished. Fair and square. Shopkeeper hopes your custom is worthwhile. New stuff. Got what you wanted. It's a game of life. Yours and everyone else's. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least.
Ja.
He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Says it's both everything you could want and never enough. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, bad, not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wonders if you could take the time to help a man slake his own thirst. You'd be doing him a liquid solid. You're a do-gooder, so you know you want to. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and... Sure, that's the point. But you can't stop trying new ones, or life gets dull. Wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit. Respects how you always try to help, no matter that the world's fate is hard to swallow. Sees why you joined up with the Myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Says he sells them drinks. They mostly suck them down on their own. But who cares about them? Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The Glugmocker, Nimhimbibble, and his favourite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all. Without a drink, and radium syrup especially, he can't move, much less think, as the power of his mind is directly proportioned to the quantity of syrup he swigs. That's why he's called Gulp. The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world is still figures the real problem is finding something to drink. He wants you to know he has other interests, too. He's the Surfipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching Pippi's flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. Says he read that in an old world book. It means you're an expert of all living things that flap and tweet. Don't spare the jets. Back on your own 2 feet. The Domp outpost, shined up by the Myriad tribe. This day is as good as it's going to. Peddler is eager for you to have a look at the wares. There's no reason to think this might explode. Sometimes what you'll see doesn't feel real until it brings you back to that particular moment, like stepping into a time machine. It's hard to shake these memories and their accompanying feelings. Our brains play tricks on us, so it will take effort to avoid them. However, there's no doubt that what you remember makes your future different. I was wondering when you'd recall how to spring the automaton air gliders. The Tree of Life still stands. Question is, for how long? Gun it! Check out that plastic scrap over there. Be careful.